الحمد لله وكفى والصلاة والسلام على النبي المصطفى سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to the Jews from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. As you know, we discuss different topics from the ahadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. الصادق المصدوق الذي لا يقول إلا حقا ولا يتكلم إلا صدقا. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam always spoke the truth, and whatever he said, it was an inspiration inspired to him by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In huwa illa wahyu yuha. Whatever he said was an inspiration from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and we are so happy to be the followers of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it such that on the day of Qiyamah we shall be in his company, we shall be in the company of Habibullah, the beloved of Allah, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And our topic for today, our brothers and sisters, we'll be speaking about how can you become successful in the dunya and akhirah. How can you become successful, the reasons for success in dunya and akhirah in whatever you are doing. Now, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said in a hadith, إِنَّمَا الْأَعْمَالُ بِنِيَّاتِ, that actions are judged by niyyah, the intention. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in whatever we do, He looks at our hearts. He looks at our hearts to see if we are doing for His sake or not. If we are doing for the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala or not. You know? So one of the reasons for us to be successful in the dunya and akhirah, in whatever we are doing, is to do with ikhlas, with sincerity. You know? Only for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to make Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala happy. Now, if you know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is happy with you, what else do you want? If Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is happy with you, even if the entire world is not happy with you, is upset with you, knowing that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is happy with you, you should be happy. That's a great gift. Now, to make Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala happy, and for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to be happy with you. So one of the things, or one of the reasons for success is al-ikhlas. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, إِنَّا أَنزَلْنَا إِلَيْكَ الْكِتَابَ بِالْحَقِّ. O Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, we have revealed to you the book in truth. Now, فَعَبُدِ اللَّهَ مُخْلِصًا لَهُ الدِّينَ. So worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in sincerity, or with sincerity in religion. Now, to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with ikhlas, with sincerity, you know. So like that, you will be successful in whatever you are doing. Whether you are a business person, now you've got a shop, you've got a company. If you are a husband, you know, you are a wife, now, and you've got children. All those should be with ikhlas for the sake of Allah, for the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Have you ever asked yourself, why did I get married? Did I get married just to fulfill, you know, to make myself happy? Or I got married for the pleasure of Allah? Have you ever asked yourself, why did I get a job? Did I get a job, this job for the sake of Allah, to make Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala happy, or for my own, you know, for my own desires? Now, why do we have things? Why do we have children? Do I have children to make Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala happy, or it is to make my nafs happy? So we need to ask ourselves these questions. Why do we do things? Why am I doing whatever I'm busy doing? Am I doing for the sake of Allah Ta'ala, or for the sake of fame and name? Now, the wife that I have, why did I bring her into my life? Did I bring her just to make myself happy, or for the sake of Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala? Now, so if we want to be successful people, my dear brothers and sisters, whatever we do, we should do with ikhlas, with sincerity. We should correct our intention that we do for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now, and the second reason for you to be successful is al-mujahada wal-mudawama. Al-mujahada, you must give it full. Give yourself full to the job that you are doing. Now, if you are working in a shop, you have started a business, you must go into that business and make mujahada. You must make a lot of effort. And inshallah, you have made your niyyah that I've opened this business to make Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala happy, to get some rizq, to support my family, to support my children, to help those who are in need. Now, the second step is for you to work hard. Now, you should work hard and do whatever you are doing continuously. Don't do today, that tomorrow you stop. After tomorrow you feel like doing, after that you get lazy. Laziness is from shaitan. Don't be lazy. You must always be active. Be active in whatever you are doing. Now, be active in whatever you are doing. You should have self-motivation. Now, and you keep on doing. Give it fully. If you are a da'i, give da'wah fully with patience. No? With patience, happiness from your heart that I'm doing this da'wah. I'm calling towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I'm passing the message of deen to make Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala happy. I want to get the pleasure of Allah. I want to get the pleasure of Allah. So you have to make an effort. Now, so after making an effort, inshallah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will bring success. Now, in the field of da'wah, you just keep on doing mujahada. Do mujahada. Right? Whether Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala shows you success in this dunya, or He will bring success, of your mujahada after you have left this dunya, after you have left the world. But definitely, you just put a spark there and you work hard and do continuously. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will open ways, definitely. Why? Because it is His promise in the Quran. وَالَّذِينَ جَاهَدُوا فِينَا لَنَهْدِيَنَّهُمْ سُبُلَنَا. And those who make an effort in our path, in our way, we shall open for them ways and path of success, path of happiness, ways of protection, ways of success. Now, وَالَّذِينَ جَاهَدُوا فِينَا لَنَهْدِيَنَّهُمْ سُبُلَنَا. It's a promise from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So make mujahada. Success does not just come easily. No? It's like we are looking for Jannah. We all want to be in Jannah. But we cannot just wake up in the morning. We just sit at our homes. We don't perform salah. We don't make ibadah. We don't make dua. We don't do any good deeds. And we say we want Jannah. No. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, إِنَّ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ. In other verses, إِلَّا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ. Indeed, those who believe. You must have iman, number one, in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now, number two, you must do good actions. You must act. You have to act. Now, do those actions, those deeds that pleases Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will bring you closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So, mujahada, sacrifice, to make an effort in order for you to be successful in whatever you are doing. Number three, reason for you to be successful is al-iftiqaru ila Allah. Al-iftiqaru ila Allah. You should show Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that you are in need of Allah. Don't ever think that, whatever you are able to do, it was because of your intelligence. It's not because of your intelligence. It's not because you are too smart. It's not because you are too clever. But it is a tawfiq from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It was Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who has made it possible for you to do whatever you have done or to do whatever you are able to do. Allah ta'ala gave you the power for you to do whatever you are able to do. Allahu Akbar. So you should show Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that you are in need of Him all the time. Always we're in need of Allah. Now, for us to perform salah, we're in need of Allah. To fast, we're in need of Allah. To give sadaqah, we're in need of Allah. To go for hajj, we're in need of the help of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Al-iftiqar ila Allah all the time. Now, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَمَا بِكُم مِّن نِعْمَةٍ فَمِنَ اللَّهِ, that whatever ni'mah you have, that came from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we cannot do without Allah. I cannot do without Allah. You cannot do without Allah. We have to show Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that we are in need of Him, that inshallah will be successful in whatever we'll be pursuing, in whatever we'll be doing. We'll be taking a short break, inshallah. We will continue after this, inshallah ta'ala. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back to the Jews from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And our topic for today is reasons for success. We are discussing the reasons for success. And we spoke about doing for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Why? Because if we do for the sake of fame, if we do for the sake of name, wallahi, come qiyamah, we will come hoping to get rewards from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we'll get zero. Now, we will get zero. We won't get anything from Allah. Why? Because whatever we done in the dunya, it was not, with good or correct intention. It was for the sake of name and fame. For people to call you, generous. And of course, the people would have called you that. Now, for people to call you brave, of course, the people, would have called you that in the dunya. But now, qiyamah, you will get nothing from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. To correct intention is very, very, very much important. We have to look, or we have to see. Now, in the beginning of the deed, am I doing it for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? In the middle of the deed, am I still doing it for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? At the end of the action also, at the end of a deed, did I do for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Why? Because in between shaitan comes. Shaitan interferes all the time. Shaitan wants to mislead us. Shaitan don't want us to do for the sake of Allah. Shaitan wants us to be with him where he is destined to be, in Jahannam. Wa na'udhu billah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala save us from the fire of Jahannam. Let us go to the hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, where he speaks about the first people who will be thrown onto the fire of Jahannam. The first people who will be judged by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on the day of Qiyamah. قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم إن أول من يقضى يوم القيامة عليه رجل استشهد فأتي به فعرفه نعمته فعرفها. That the first people who will be judged on the day of Qiyamah will be, number one, a shaheed, a martyr, the one who fought and he died in the battlefield in the name of Islam, in the name of Al-Islam, a shaheed. Shaheed, a martyr, right? So there are different categories of shahada. If a person drowns and he dies as a shaheed. Now, if a person, fights the enemy who is an intruder who came to his house, he wants to harm his family, and in the process, he was killed, he dies as a shaheed. But here we're talking about the person who went in the battlefield to fight, to defend Islam, to defend the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now, in the process, he died. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will look into his heart, if he did that for his pleasure or not. Now, so this hadith speaks about this person. So on the day of Qiyamah, now, this person will be brought. A shaheed will be brought. فَأُتِيَ بِهِ فَعَرَّفَهُ نِعْمَتَهُ. And the ni'mah of being a shaheed will be brought in front of him. And he's going to recognize, Ya Allah, yes, I died as a shaheed. Now I fought, in the battlefield in the name of Islam. قَالَ فَمَا عَمِلْتَ فِيهَا. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will ask him, Naam, for what reason did you fight? So he will say, قَاتَلْتُ فِيكَ حَتَّى أُسْتُشْهِدْتُ. He will say, I fought in your name, Ya Allah. I fought for you. Naam, I fought to defend your deen until I was, made shaheed, until I was killed. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will say to him, كَذَبْتَ. You are speaking lies. وَلَكِنَّكَ قَاتَلْتَ لِأَنْ يُقَالَ جَرِيءٌ فَقَدْ قِيلَ. Indeed you fought in order for people to call you brave. and people gave you this title of bravery. Now, you did not fight for me, but you fought for name and fame, just for people to call you brave. لأن يقال جريء. In order for people to call you جريء, brave. فقد قيل. And people did, attach this title to you. You didn't do it for me. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will not give him any reward. Now, ثم أمر به فسحب على وجهه حتى ألقي في النار. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will order the angels to drag him from his face. Now, to drag him face down, pulling him and throw him into the fire of Jahannam. Wa na'udhu billah. Now, it's very, very much important for us to do for the sake of Allah. We have to check our hearts all the time. We have to check our niyyah, if our intention is correct. Shaitan interferes always. Shaitan always wants to distract us. Now, so whatever we are doing, we should do for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The second person who will be amongst the first people to be judged on the day of Qiyamah, وَرَجُلٌ تَعَلَّمَ الْعِلْمَ وَعَلَّمَهُ قَرَأَ الْقُرْآنَ. The person who have learned the deen, the person who have learned the knowledge of deen. Now, and he taught the knowledge of deen. قَرَأَ الْقُرْآنَ. He recited the Quran and he taught the Quran. And this is one of the best deeds, beloved by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, خَيْرُكُمْ مَنْ تَعَلَّمَ الْقُرْآنَ وَعَلَّمَهُ. The best amongst you is the person who learns the Quran and he teaches it. He propagates the Quran. You learn the Quran, you recite the Quran, you implement the teachings of the Quran to other people. But the niyyah should be for the sake of Allah. The intention should be for the sake of Allah. So an alim will be brought on the day of Qiyamah. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will bring the ni'mah of knowledge, the ni'mah of recitation of the Quran. He will bring this favor in front of this alim. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will ask him, فَمَا فَعَلْتَ فِيهَا. What have you done with this knowledge that I have granted you? What have you done with the knowledge I have bestowed upon you? Now, so the alim, the hafidh al-Quran, the knowledgeable person, the mufti, the allama will come on the day of Qiyamah, and when he is posed with these questions, he will say, "O Allah, I have learnt for your sake, I have recited the Quran for your sake, and I have taught the knowledge of deen for your sake, Ya Allah." Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will say, "Kadhabta, you are speaking lies. Walakin, but you have learnt the knowledge and you have recited the Quran. لأن يقال عالم لأن يقال قارئ فقد قيل." That was in order for people to call you alim, mufti, allama, giving you titles, and the people gave you titles. You recite the Quran in order for you or for the people to call you qari, a best reciter of the Quran. And the people gave you this title. And by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you will get nothing. فَأُمِرَ بِهِ فَصُحِبَ عَلَى وَجْهِهِ ثُمَّ طُرِحَ فِي النَّارِ أُلْقِيَ فِي النَّارِ. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will call the angels, and they will drag this person by his face, by his forehead, and throw him into the fire of Jahannam. If you're an alim, correct your intention. All of us, we need to correct our intention. Are we teaching the ahadith for the sake of Allah? Are we teaching the Quran for the pleasure of Allah? Now, are we reciting for the pleasure of Allah? Are we preparing events and programs for the pleasure of Allah? We have to ask ourselves these questions all the time. Why? Because we do not want to come on the day of Qiyamah as losers. Now, as losers, coming with hope that we will get the rewards. But when we come in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we will find nothing, we will get nothing. And the third person that will be, who will be amongst the people or amongst the first people that will be judged by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on the day of Qiyamah is the rich person. The person that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving him so much wealth. Now, so much wealth. Now, on the day of Qiyamah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will ask him, what did you do with this ni'mah? Why? Because the ni'mah of wealth will be brought to him. He will recognize his wealth. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will ask him, what have you done with this wealth? What have you done with the ni'mah I have given to you? What have you done with the wealth I have bestowed upon you? So the rich person, will say, there was no any place that there was a need for me to spend my wealth except that I have spent it. Whether it was for masjid, I have spent it. Whether it was for poor people, I have spent it. Whether it was for any disaster, I have spent it. Now, and he will say, Ya Allah, I have spent this wealth for your sake. I have done it for your sake. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will say, Kadhabta, you are lying. Now, you are lying. ولكن نعم أنفقت فيها لأن يقال جواد لأن يقال جواد. You have spent the wealth in order for people to call you generous. فقد قيل, and you received this title of generosity. You didn't do it for me. ثم أمر به فسحب على وجهه ثم ألقي في النار. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will send the angels, will command the angels to take him by his face and throw him into the fire of Jahannam. Wa na'udhu billah. The fire of Jahannam is 70 times hotter than the fire of this dunya. You see, the fire that we use to cook, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has reduced it 70 times in order for us to be able to cook or to use it. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive us. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us from, going astray. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it such that whenever we do anything, we do for His sake. That on the day of Qiyamah, when we come to Him, we get all the rewards. Number one, we get the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and He grant us Jannatul Firdaus without any reckoning. We have come to the end of our program. Until we meet again, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.